cement pond. Everybody here not remember? Anybody here ever? Who remembered Beverly Hillbillies?
Still up.
Go up, make me feel comfortable. My oldest son Patrick wanted me to do like a group gallery reading for his real estate office. So I did it Friday night, and the lady had lost a horse. She started laughing about the horse. I said, well, you go through trauma a little differently than some of us. And I said, you didn't name your horse Mr. Ed, did you? And I got 25 blank looks. They had no idea. Everybody here know who Mr. Ed is? Thank God. Thank you so much. So it's a privilege. I know it sounds like a lengthy resume. I don't put out the resume a whole lot, or those connections. Sorry, a little ADD here. Okay, so first I want to thank you for having me. That's just really creeping me out. There's that skeleton in the back with the lights. I looked up and went, holy cow, okay. I hope you guys see that, because that's what I'm seeing. Okay, just want to make sure. And, you know, as I look at this journey of, gosh, now going on 14 years, and so how did it all begin? It all began with Annette was our housekeeper, and she invited us to a circle. And Emilio was head of the circle. And that's where this began. I was very conservative, very left-brain analytical. You know, I'm Catholic and a Christian. How many people here grew up Catholic? Raise your hand. How many people are still Catholic? And down they go. Okay, there we go. I could get through the Bible part and the Catholicism part, but the left side of the brain, the analytical part, was really tough to overcome. So, folks had a lot of struggles, but I went to that circle. Started out as a meditation, and it eventually became a mediumship and a teaching vehicle. So Emilio still teaches here, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Great teacher, but I wasn't getting the information like everybody else was getting. I was like, okay, start sweating a little bit. Okay, so what's wrong with me? Why is everybody, you know, they were, here's a funny story. So this is a funny story. We're into this, and it was at Kathy and Eric's house. It was back before we went into the room up front. So in the back, it was nice and cool. We all put our phones and our purses up in, not my purse, but our purses. But if I was going to carry a purse, that's okay. There's no problem with that. Put them in the front room and turn off the phones. My wife had a phone that the phone ring was a train whistle. And so it's all quiet. It's all quiet. Train whistle goes on and off, and somebody goes, oh my God, you guys hear that? I was like, my wife is on the couch. I can feel her, I can feel the glare. Have you ever seen Everybody Loves Raymond when Deborah's glaring at Ray? And it goes off again. So to me, I wonder what they're trying to tell us. I said, I know what they're trying to tell us. Spirit's going, Jared, turn off the damn phone. By now, my face is red hot because Mary's just like, so I had to go talk. Anyway, that's it. And so, but that's where I learned I had gifts, right? I turned 70 in March, and this was, I didn't discover my gifts until my mid-late 50s, which means you can discover gifts at any point in life. I know we see a lot of the famous, the well-known, you know, Teresa Caputo, John Edwards, all those people, and they talk about, you know, when I was 5 or 6. Are you yawning already? Good Lord. First one that drops. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. And so I was really befuddled that I couldn't figure out where this information was coming from. You know, it wasn't coming from anybody that passed. I had not learned really about clairvoyance or psychic mediumship at that point. And Emilio said, I know where you're getting your information. And he handed me a piece of paper from a book that I went out and bought. In fact, I still may have your book, quite honestly. Sorry about that. Thank God you're not at the library. And it was higher self. You're getting your information from the higher self. I'd never heard of that phrase before, the higher self. And so, going, okay. And then, fast forward to years later, I'm meeting with Diane Ross. And Diane Ross does a lot of past life regressions. And she's done one for me, and she's tremendous. And you know people who do past life regressions are really good. And I asked her, the same question. I'd forgotten what Emilio told me about the higher self. She goes, Jerry, you get your information from the higher self. That's what, in the higher self, think of the seventh chakra, you know, the point of contact with God, or infinite intelligence. I don't think God cares what they call God as long as you call him God. And so that's where I learned my gifts. By the way, this is going to be yet another short presentation. Give me time for messages. So I looked up different definitions of the higher self. See if this resonates. Number one, the idea of a person's true, enlightened, and most evolved self that is connected to the universe. Here's another. An eternal, I can't pronounce it. Omniscient. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That's it. Tennessee public education coming through. Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious, Jerry Goofus. Conscious and intelligent being who is one's real self. Here's another one. The aspect of you connected to the divine. Right. So I really like that one. The last one. The higher self embodies wisdom, peace, and understanding, and transcends everyday consciousness. I'm talking about everyday consciousness, and what Amelia told me made perfect sense. I couldn't figure out where, I remember when I first got there. There's another funny little story. So my wife and I know nothing about mediumship, and Amelia goes into a trance, mediumship, and we're looking for the door, because my wife and I want to run out, because we've never seen anybody in a trance medium, and he brings through Serafina. So a lot of these things were enlightened to me. We'd never seen this, but now some of them started to make sense. The masters that I got in metaphysical science, I'm just fascinated by the left side. I'm going for the doctoral next year only because I paid for it. So I'm going to do it. I'm not going to use a doctor. I don't want anybody to say, hey, I got a cold. What can you do for me? I don't know. Let me see your offer. I don't know. So a higher self increases synchronicity. That, intuition and insights. So when I go to bed at night, I go through my prayers, and I always thank my higher self. To me, the higher self is the 30,000-foot view of everything. You know, I think your spirit guides talk to us, your loved ones talk to us. And I'm kind of analytical. I don't know how that all works, and I get frustrated that I can't draw a flow chart of how it all works. So that's what I want to say about higher self. Now, I hadn't planned this, but as always. And by the way, this whole thing's not my talk, okay? This is just 2 pages. When I first came here, being a left brain person, I was always fascinated by number 5. We're from the communication with the so-called dead. Oh my God, I look like a Baptist preacher, don't I? And I said, I'm just kidding, struck with lightning. Is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomenon of spiritualism. When I first came here, I said, give me a break. That's not scientific. And, but how do we know this stuff? You know, messages I'm going to give later, I don't know most of you. How do I know this? And the way I can figure out, equate with my brain, the scientific part, I did a small group, about 9 people in Fort Lauderdale years ago. And I say to this woman, and I'm never this, detailed, I guess, or deep. I said, do you have a B12 deficiency? Now, that's out of the blue, okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm a retired pet food salesperson, okay, who now does this. And I'm retired. She said, yes. So what are the odds? Can you, in a million years, can you calculate the odds that I would come up that she had a deficiency of B12? Can we calculate the odds that, I don't know, and your father comes through, and he's, father comes through. As soon as I said that, the father comes through. So anyway, we'll see who it is. And that he has a limp, or he has a broken. I don't know. You can't calculate those odds. For me, it is scientific, but it's beyond scientific. You know, I think I spoke here one time. Did I speak about the God helmet? Okay, so I don't know how you're going to title this talk, Rosie. Just put miscellaneous. So again, taking this master's course, these scientists were trying to prove they could have a near-death experience. They could recreate a near-death experience. That was their task. And they got a motorcycle helmet, but they got all these electrodes, they got all these things connected to it. And they're running brain waves and all this stuff. And yeah, they could recreate emotions, right? But that doesn't prove that these people have had near-death experiences. You know, a lot of times the people in near-death experiences, they have a feeling of the divine. They see their loved ones. They sense the light of their loved ones, right? And they do, some of them do a life review. That kind of scares me. But, you know, the good, the bad, and I won't say the ugly, but the not so good. And so, scientists are trying, you know, we can recreate intelligence, but we can't recreate consciousness. We can't recreate a higher self. We can't recreate spirit, a soul. And unfortunately, science is not supposed to prove or disprove anything. That's not their objective in life. Their objective is to, if I present stuff to them, theirs is to accept or reject based on the evidence. And so these two scientists, and one was an anesthesiologist, you know, they're always from another country, you know, Denmark. I don't know what's going on in Denmark, but anyway, Denmark, they always seem to be from Denmark. And he says, no such thing as a soul because you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it. Well, if you start out to do an experiment with that kind of bias, you're never going to get to a conclusion. By the way, my latest book, next year, I kind of rip them. So I thought it had to be a good time to rip, go into it. But you're here for a reason. You're here for, you know, I've always asked Emilio, and let's see, in that circle there was Carla, there was Rosie, there was Annette, a lot of people here that aren't here that were in that circle. And I always questioned Spirit. I said, why did I learn my gifts so late in life? Geez, I was 56, 57, somewhere around there. And it just came back, well, because you can encourage people who haven't touched upon those gifts to explore those gifts. So that's part of my mission, my purpose, my mission in life. And is to make sure that, you know, everybody has gifts. I tell people, I give readings, I'm glad you come to me, but you don't have to come to me to connect. You know, you don't have to come to me to connect. I'm glad you do, because I have a Skechers fund, you know, and I charge a little bit for my Skechers fund. So Mary can go, oh God, not another pair of shoes, give me a break. But we all have gifts. That's why I like that you come here and you take classes. I took all three of those classes. I took, the first one was, what was the first one? Introduction. And then the next one was natural law, and then was mediumship. Right?
Healing.
Yeah, healing. Yeah, until I paid a lot of attention, didn't I? Well, this was years ago. Reverend Jeannie was doing it. And I'd sit up front because I had a hard time hearing. I kept seeing all these shadows coming back and forth. I said, oh God, you know, take me aside and burn my clothes or something. I don't know what they're going to do. But then I look up and there's nobody there. So, you know, I have a validation. I like to validate everything. That's just it. And Spirit says, quit validating stuff. Just let go of the left brain. Let the right side of the brain, which is creative and which is ideals and everything. And so, how many people have taken classes here? I'm going to finish with this. I encourage you to take classes. Take classes as much as you can. I learned so much. Natural law was the one that I really learned a lot. I was already studying mediumship under Emilio's tutorage. Tutorage? Is that a word? It is now, by God. Tutorage. And so, I feel sorry for you, Rosie. I have no idea what you're going to do. In fact, don't post this, okay? But higher self, there is a higher part of us that cannot be seen or, you know, wrapped up. We can't wrap our hands around it, but we can wrap our mind around it. That's what I have for you this morning. Thank you very much. Look forward to the messages. Thanks for not applauding. Appreciate it.